Namaste, Kia ora and good day friends. This is Yugal, Parashar, editor Indian News. Friends, we have with us a very special person in our studios today. He is one of the better known faces in the Indian community. The name is Mahesh Bindra, the former New Zealand First List MP. Welcome to the Indian News and good morning Mahesh. How are you today?
Thank you very much, Yugalji, and thank you very much for that beautiful introduction. Also, probably didn't deserve it.
No,
Very kind of you.
You do.
Very kind of you to make this effort to connect me back to the community through your newspaper, Indian News.
Thank you. You're welcome. Now, Mahesh, it may sound a very unusual question, but I'm curious to know how come and why the New Zealand First Party, like most conventionally, most people from the Indian community would want to connect to the main political parties of the country. Why did you choose New Zealand First as your party?
Because when I came in contact with Mr. Peters, I was invited to study his policies and then comment on those and suggest any changes that I would like to make to those policies. So I thought that was a very open, very honest approach towards a migrant. Inviting a migrant to comment on that party's policy, yeah. I think it was very fair, very honest. And then when I studied the policies, I thought that this party was very patriotic, very nationalist, and grounded, and also it had the welfare of all New Zealanders in the heart of those policies. New Zealand First means it is a party for all New Zealanders. There was a myth that New Zealanders are those who were born here, but that's not the case. According to Mr. Peters, anybody who's landed in this country legally, whether yesterday or 1,000 years ago, yeah, they're all New Zealanders. Yeah. So I thought that was very welcoming and very warm. The myth also was that the party was racist, which I found out that was not the case.
Yeah, my next question was going to be on that only. Like, it's good to hear from you about, I agree with you on that Mr. Peters personally, or maybe your party's philosophy could be very staunch nationalist, but they are migrant friendly. I have doubts about it. And if you remember, you probably would remember the infamous rant by one of your colleagues, Shane Jones, a couple of years ago. He said, for the Indians especially to take the first flight back home. So how far your party has come from that rant to today?
I don't know whether I would call it a rant, because Shane Jones is one of the most highly educated politicians. He's exceptionally intelligent, and whatever he said was in context with some complaints by some migrant communities who want to come here, enjoy the benefits. They become New Zealand citizens, but they don't want to accept New Zealand values and culture and the way of life. And so that is why he said that if somebody doesn't like it here, it's not only Shane Jones. There's another senior party member who had once said in the House that if you don't like it here, go back home.
Would you want to elaborate a little more? What is like accepting the values, or the things here? What was that thing which provoked him or prompted him to say all this?
You obey the law. Okay. By and large, the migrant communities are law-abiding. Okay, more law-abiding than some others.
Yes.
But there are instances where there are cases of dishonesty, mainly.
Yeah.
So Shane was referring to that. But also, on the other hand, Shane is aware, and so is the party, that our population is 4%. The Indian population in this country is 4%.
And it's close to 5% now.
Yeah, around 4 to 5%.
Yeah.
But our contribution towards GDP is over 9%.
That's correct.
So that means we are not only pulling our weight, we are actually performing twice as much.
Sure.
Per capita. So we take pride in that. in our contribution towards this country. So that little bit of miscommunication, I must say, was then later on was communicated to Shane Jones by the leader himself, and he accepted. And what happens is, Yugalji, keep all of us are humans, okay? We all make mistakes.
Yeah.
What do we do? What does a good human being does after
Accept the mistake. if they
accept
have
the
done it.
mistake,
Yeah.
correct it, and then move on?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Shane
So
did.
I still need to hear from you. So how far your party has moved from that point to until today, like reaching out to the ethnic community or Indian community in particular?
You'll remember that during COVID, there were about 350 Kiwi Indians were stuck in India. Okay. It was Winston Peters who called up the Indian Foreign Minister Jaishankar, him being sort of personal friends,
Yeah.
because he had gone earlier. to-
New Zealand's foreign minister.
That's right.
Yeah.
So he called up Minister Jaishankar, and he arranged for a special aircraft to be flown with those 350 people stuck there and bring them back home here. Nobody noticed that.
Now it was picked up by the media, but yeah, maybe not the community at large. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you remember Pulwama attack,
Yes.
Winston Peters was the first politician in the world, and the first one
To condemn that.
to condemn that in the House.
Yeah.
Okay, so he had no need to do that.
Yeah, I know about that as well.
Yeah. So those are the things that the party does, but they go unnoticed. And one so-called rant by Shane Jones is repeated over and over and over again.
But that was not taken in a very good taste. Now that chapter is over.
Nobody's saying that.
Yeah, or maybe he was targeting a specific, group of people who were, as you said, were abusing, those privileges of the system.
I have a particular sort of expose that I did, which never came out in the mainstream media.
Yeah.
There were Indians abusing Indians in Potaki orchards.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
What they would do is that they would come here, form a company, and do the contracting for orchards. They used to employ Indian students at $2 an hour.
Yeah.
$2 an hour.
I heard about that
Yes,
as well.
and I have done that expose.
Yeah.
Okay, so they would give them just $2 if at all, and give them a bag of rice, a bag of dal, and they would put 25 boys in a 5-bedroom home. Okay, and take them from home to orchard, back to home, and feed them dal and rice.
That was totally inhuman and
So that
the
is
height of exploitation by the
So-
community people only.
so that is not New Zealand values.
Yeah,
is it?
certainly not.
So Shane was attacking that, not any particular community or any particular person. That could be anybody, in getting involved in these inhuman activities.
Okay, Maheshji, you have very well answered my question. Now, moving forward, elections are less than 150 days away from today, and the recent, surveys are not showing very good numbers of your party. How do you see the prospects of New Zealand First Party in the coming elections?
We have historically those numbers have never been correct.
Yeah.
Okay. The reason why they are not showing is best known to them. I wouldn't like to comment on that. What's the motivation for them not to keep New Zealand first on the side? But if you go to the streets or if you go and attend public meetings, you definitely know, and people come to us and say that you guys are doing very well. We need you back. Yes, there are some people who think that we are responsible for this present government's failures, but we are not. Yes, we were coalition partners in 2017,
Yeah.
and we worked as a positive handbrake. We didn't let the government introduce policies such as capital gain tax.
Yeah.
And others, and we supported the government in law and order, and whatever they were good policies, we supported the government, and we opposed and stopped the bad policies from being implemented. So we did that up to 2017. We fully take responsibility for that period, 2020 to
2017 to
2017 to 2020.
Yeah.
But after that, there was a tsunami, the so-called tsunami,
Yeah.
and we were ousted from the parliament.
Yes.
Labour were able to, as you know, that Labour were able to form a government on their own. They didn't need any coalition partners. We were out of the parliament. So how can we be responsible for the failures of the government when we are not a partner in the government?
Agreed.
Yeah?
Now, it's a hypothetical question though, but if the situation arises, the outcome of the election is that both parties are, like in the survey they are showing neck to neck now. So even the outcome is the same neck to neck, who would you support it in case if you happen to have a couple of MPs? Who you are going to support to?
Well, it will be more than a couple of MPs, I must say.
Good luck for that and all the best.
Yeah, yeah.
So which party are you going to support in that case?
That again is a hypothetical question, Yugal, as you said.
Yeah.
The hypothetical answer to that is that we are, as Mr. Peters said once, that you get to lie to me only once. When there is a relationship, there has to be trust in that relationship.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's my hypothetical answer to that.
That means the party will support National in that case.
I'm not saying that.
No, I assume that. Okay, let's move on. Government has just presented the last budget of this year before election yesterday, and they're posting it as a no strings attached budget, while the main opposition like National NEC party are calling it a blowout budget. What's your party's take about the yesterday's budget?
Look, I'm not an expert on economics,
Yeah.
let me admit that. And usually Mr. Peters comments on the budget.
Yeah.
Okay. I am not qualified to comment on a budget, I must say.
Yeah.
But I can say that this is not a no strings budget, it's a no substance budget.
Yeah.
From a layman's perspective.
It's the same
It's
populist measure like, waiving of prescription fee or, extending those supports and all that. So it's like buying the votes. So you are...
There has been a talk, and I'm not going to comment on that, but there is a talk that even the media have got some lollipops.
Not that I know of. I should have
You
been
probably
aware
didn't
of
get
it. No, we never got it, unfortunately. The lollipop was offered a couple of years ago, and we unfortunately couldn't, qualify for that. So yeah, So you think your party supports that budget which has just been released yesterday, or?
No, again, we are not in the parliament, so I personally cannot comment on the budget, but Mr. Peters will give a detailed press release.
Okay.
soon.
How do you see your party's prospects in the coming election?
Well, it's better than what the media would like to think.
Okay.
Yeah, we have been packing halls in small towns, and people in the street are just fed up, and they know that we can be a handbrake on any government. So people want us back.
Yeah.
Probably the media don't, but there you go.
When you say media, you're talking of the mainstream media.
Oh yes,
Obviously.
yes.
Okay. Now one last question, Mr. Bindra, before I let you go. Can you give a couple of good reasons for mainly addressing the ethnic community, and that to the Indian community in particular, why the people from the community should be voting New Zealand First Party?
I can give you more than a couple of reasons.
Well, I appreciate that.
Look, what does everybody, including myself as a migrant, what do we need in our lives? We need safety in the streets, safety in our businesses, homes. Second thing we need is education for our kids.
Yeah.
Third thing we need is affordable housing. Fourth thing that we need is, the living expenses, affordable provisions of affordable lifestyle.
Yeah.
Okay. In a country, in a food-growing country, where head of lettuce
Yeah.
is $10, then there is something wrong with that country. You know, um, we are one of the largest producers of food of all kinds, but the food prices in this country are just not acceptable. People are going hungry.
Yes.
They shouldn't be, and our business are not safe. You hear of ram raids every single day.
Every 10 hours is the national average.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that a safe country? It's not. People are not feeling safe. People are going hungry. The education system is crashed. The health system is in shambles. Okay, so what more? These are the basic things that somebody wants, and these are the basic things which our policies cover, and we are very, very strong on these four or five things. We want to provide for.
I'm afraid current government doesn't support your party's aspiration in that case. So you have an obvious choice who to go with now.
Look, if they don't support us, we support New Zealanders.
Yeah.
Okay. The choice is for a particular party that whether they want to support us in these things.
Or the
And
people
these are
of the
very,
country.
very basic things. You will remember that every single election when we have gone for coalition,
Yeah.
we have asked for more policemen and women. We
Yes.
got them.
Yes.
But now what has happened is that the 2017 election coalition agreement, we had demanded about 3,300 policemen and women, and they were given to us.
Yes.
They were trained and they were put on the streets. So imagine those 3 years. Consider the law and order situation then, and consider the law and order situation now. So what has happened is that the government gave us 3,000 odd policemen and women, but after we left, they didn't replace those who had retired or who had left service. There was no replacement. So we are back to square one now.
Sure. On that note, Mr. Bindra, we conclude our interview today and wish you and your party very best for the coming elections, and hope to see you back in the parliament.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time.
Lovely.
Thank you.